Majesty said, "My government will uphold human rights and democracy across the world." I will address that in the context of Israel and Palestine, an issue upon which I resigned from Cabinet nearly 7 years ago. I saw then at the heart of government what we see now, our government simply failing to implement its own stated policy. My Lords, we have a policy. We have a policy of a two-state solution, but we do not recognise Palestine as a state. Ministers refuse to even use its name. We have a policy of a peace process, but we have no appetite to initiate or prioritise one. We have a policy that settlement building is illegal and contrary to international law, yet there is no consequence where every year more and more settlers, supported by the Israeli government and diaspora groups, occupy more land in Palestine. We do nothing to deter Israel from expanding settlements, forced evictions and home demolitions. This is ethnic cleansing and is denying the reality of the state of Palestine to even exist. Our policy is that East Jerusalem is an integral part of a future Palestinian state, and yet we do nothing as extremists barge into homes terrorising Palestinian families who've lived there for generations. Our policy is to defend human rights, but no action follows as hundreds of Palestinian children every year are arrested, mistreated and incarcerated. Our policy is supporting international accountability and funding the International Criminal Court, but we oppose the ICC's investigation into war crimes in Palestine. Each time, my Lords, we fail to implement our own policy, we send out the message to an ever-extremist right-wing Israeli government that there will be no cost or consequences for its treatment of the Palestinians. This total impunity is feeding Israel's prolific rise in far-right extremism, leaving a society fighting for its very soul. My Lords, often when we look at periods in history that were so overwhelmingly unjust, so clearly unfair, and where in retrospect we see appalling human rights abuses and cruelty, the way we rationalise the lack of action at the time is by saying we would have done more if only we knew then what we know now.